Did you read the Guardian review of this book? I tried to go back and read a few like
No, I
contemporaneous
didn't.
reviews, and the guy, and I can't remember his name. I should have written it down. The guy writing the review for the Guardian was like basically saying this book is very poorly written and it is bad, but tied it into, he said something that I had not thought of. He was like, look, in America after 9/11, people are looking for easy answers and evidence that all the bad stuff that happens is because there's some secret society like running shit behind the scenes. And he's like, I think one of the reasons this is popular is because it gives order to chaos. The reason all this bad stuff is going on is because there's somebody making it happen. And I thought that was a very interesting take on not only why this book is popular in general, but why it is popular right now when it came
Yeah.
out. And I had never thought
It's
of it in that context particularly.
That's a really good point. It's like the comfort of conspiracy thought, which is exactly what Langdon is doing in this book. It's
That's right.
comforting
That's right.
to think that all of these things and all of the Disney movies have this symbolism because of this, and it's
Yep.
cults behind everything.
Yes.
And like
It's
ultimately
comforting. Yeah, please.
what that always comes down to is some protocols of the elders of Zion shit where it just
Yeah,
turns
that's
into
right.
blatant anti-Semitism. The cults are all actually Jewish.
Yeah. People love it is what it's exactly what you said. I'm just going to reiterate it. People love the idea that they know shit that other people don't. They see the real truth and no one else sees it. And it's the reason everything is like this. And it's the reason that that kind of anti-Semitic stuff is popular. It's the reason QAnon stuff like that is popular. It is pure conspiracy thinking, and it is very alluring to think that you're clued in to some ultimate truth that others are not privy to. But, you know, there are clues everywhere if you just know to look for them. It's wrong, but
Yeah.
it is very comforting to think that way, to think that you're
And
one of the
this
cognoscenti and everyone else is dumb.
And especially if the information that makes that up is blatant misinformation and you are so overwhelmed by the sheer volume of it that you can't even be bothered to fact check it because you assume that the form that it's taking, which is a best-selling book, which is endorsed by a ton of people and hot in the media, surely the thing at the beginning tells me it's true and it's a bestseller, so it all must be true.
Right. Because a, you know, an academic would not, we have people who should have standards, and you assume that when someone says this is true, they have a standard that they are adhering to. They have done work to back it up. And it's the problem with so many things today. You know, this book is 20 plus years old, but
Yeah.
this is truer now than it's ever been. You have people all the time saying to your face, I know the truth. What I'm saying is true. Here it is. And it is
Don't believe your
often,
eyes, believe what I am telling you is
that's right.
happening.
And sometimes it's not a blatant falsehood, but it is a truthy kind of like way of framing things that feels right.
I mean,
And
Colbert
especially,
had it with truthiness.
yeah, that's right. Especially if it plays into your pre-existing biases, you're more primed to believe it, which is why when you're reading this book, I think the other thing you said that I really like is there's just such a mass of insane wrong bullshit in this book that it's very hard to fact check because it's whack-a-mole. Every time you bash something down, there's something else. You're just like, oh, but is that true? You know,
And there are a couple of things that are true. Like
there are a couple
the
of things
bit
that are
that was
true.
saying like Venus traces a perfect pentacle in the sky, and I was like, okay, well that's
Is
not
that
real,
true?
but no, it is true.
Oh,
So
perfect? Really?
Google it.
Okay.
It's
That was news to me.
but how could you buy anything that's said? And the idea that millions of people have read this and
Yeah.
just are taken in by it. I mean, it's fiction is one thing. What Dan Brown does by claiming it is true, both in interviews and in the preface of his books, is irresponsible.
Yep.
And
100%.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, like the connection to everything that's happening now, like post 9/11, belief in conspiracy thought, the rise of the Alex Jones of the world.
Yeah.
It's easier to believe, and it's, god damn it, it is what Dan Brown always talks about in his books of like it's easier to believe a comfortable lie,
That's
and
right.
it's
That's all
annoying
he's
when he
spinning
does
here.
it, but that's true.
Yeah.
Yes, you're so right. It's hypocritical for him to be doing this shit.
It is the ultimate goal of every Dan Brown book to spin a comfortable lie. I mean, it is a work of fiction, And I wish he would just present it that way. There's a way of writing this book. We said this before, but I'll say it again. There's a way of writing this book and not putting the fucking preface in that says, this is all real. You're just shooting yourself in the foot by doing it, but it makes it more compelling. And I
guess there's no consequences for him having done so.
Well, this is the thing about even nonfiction books are not fact-checked, right? I'm not going to get into this whole thing, but anyone can write any fucking nonfiction book they want. And if it gets published, book publishers are not hiring fact-checkers typically to check this shit. This is why Malcolm Gladwell's of the world exist and start, crushing, is because they're not publishing papers which are reviewed by other academics and then putting those claims into books. You can write anything you want in a book. And it doesn't need to be true, and they're not checking it. And I don't think Malcolm Gladwell is the worst offender here. I just think he's
like
not
a Joshua Lehrer making shit up.
Jonah,
excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I had a friend.
But the good news is nobody reads books anymore. So.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank God for that. Anyway, I hope to, speaking of not reading books anymore, never read another Dan Brown book. At the end of this Kindle book, I got served a little advertisement for The Lost Symbol.
Oh God! If you thought these two are bad, Lost Symbol is, whoo.
I think I know what The Lost Symbol is. I think it's that.